Hello everybody, it's Crafty Rhea again, and I'm here today to show you some goodies that I made. Last Friday, the third Friday of the month, I went to Craft Day with my friend Valerie at her church. It's about an hour drive for me, and we haven't been in a couple of months, and I was so happy that we got to go. We both made it this month. I love going to Craft Day with Valerie, and the other ladies there are awesome and nice and fun, and we had a really good time. So I brought some stuff to make some cards with me, and Valerie also shared some of her stash with me. So I'll show you what we made, and then I'll show you what I have left over, and we'll make a card with my leftovers. Valerie came up to me and she handed me this sheet of paper with this bicycle and this patterned paper behind it. Uh-oh, you can't look at the other ones yet. That's a secret. And this patterned paper behind it with bicycles. And she said she was going to make me a card. That's what it was a 12 by 12 sheet. She said she was going to make me a card out of it. And she knows I recycle cards and watched one of my prior videos. So she said she didn't want me to recycle the card that she made. So she gave me the stuff and told me to make my own card, which I thought was kind of funny, but I love it because I love the bicycles, and making my own card, I can, you know, give it away to somebody and I get to keep the scraps, which is pretty awesome. So I went ahead and used this as my focal point, and I matted it on a little bit of cardstock that I had, this copper cardstock, and then just used that as a background. I took my Stardust glitter pen and added a little bit of sparkle to it. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but every part on the bicycle that would be metal is now a little Stardust glitter pen. And then she also was showing off some of her papers, and she had this, and I just went, wow. So she gave me a piece of that with the flamingo. So I used some paper that I brought with me and some pink holographic paper, which I don't know if I have a scrap of it over here or not to show you. Anyway, it's pink holographic paper behind it with some pink sparkle tape and a flower that was in my embellishments. So I made that. I thought that was really pretty. And then she gave me this piece of paper, and she had an identical piece. So what we both did was we cut out this flower out of the one sheet so we didn't have to use two sheets. And behind the flower, I just used my craft knife to cut it out. And behind the flower, I have some silver holographic paper, just so there wouldn't be a white border. And then I had in my stash with me some of this seam binding, this lace, and I went ahead and made a little bow with it. It's really simple, but I thought it came out really good. I popped this up on a pop dot, and I used my bone folder and curled the edges a little so it has a lot of dimension. I thought that was really pretty. And then I brought with me a couple of 3 card kits, and I thought, well, it would be real easy for me to make some cards out of these card kits. So the first card kit I made, there were 5 cards in the kit. So this first one is family is the best kind of friends. I had these flowers with me, so I added the flowers and I added these enamel dots to it, and I thought it just added just a little bit more than just the plain card. I followed their instructions on the card kit and made it, and like I said, I just added. This one here I added above the clear plastic, and then this one I put it below it just for a little bit of difference, and I wanted the words to show on that one. So there's that one. This one I made pretty much the way that they had explained it in the card kit. The only difference was I used a circle die and a scrap of silver paper, and I made the backing behind friend to kind of go with the silver brads. And they only gave you 4 brads And they had their example had staples on here, so I might go ahead and put staples on there. But this was exactly the way their card kit was. And this one here I made again just like their card kit had described it. And this is just a little heart that goes right in there. I stuck it down with some adhesive so it wouldn't fall out. So that is the way that they described it. This one is exactly the way they described it, and I used the little brad that they gave me, and this is actually a piece of metal. And I didn't do anything special with this. I just left it that way. And then this one is pretty much the way they described it, except I took this happy birthday and put it on some of that silver paper just to add some more dimension. And I had these pressed flowers in my stash, and I went ahead and stuck them on top of these embellishments. They just had flowers drawn on there, and I thought that would be a little bit prettier, and I used a scrap of the ribbon behind one of them just to add a little bit more. So then at the end of this one, I had that H left over that had popped, that I popped out of there, and I went ahead and found some paper in my stash. I had a little tiny piece of this ribbon left over, and I thought it went really well with this paper. I stamped a sentiment and just made the H go over top of it and make it say hello. So real simple and a way to use up some of the leftovers. This was the second card kit that I had, and I pretty much, they didn't really give you instructions on this one. I just kind of put things together to what pleased my eye. I had my own ribbon. This piece was about exactly that long, so it's nice to use up that small piece, and a flower and an enamel dot, and then I added some of those gems from my stash. And then this one, this is a really pretty 3D butterfly. I went ahead and added some purple gems there, and then a couple of flat butterfly stickers to finish that one off. And then this one had this flower with the butterfly on it. I had this ribbon in my stash. I think it's May Arts ribbon. And I went ahead and used that. I thought it was pretty. And then some green bling I added to it. And this one, I added some bling as the steam coming off of the tea. I call it tea. You may think it's coffee, but I don't drink coffee, so for me it's tea. And then a piece of that May Arts ribbon that I had in my stash. So that's the cards that I made on craft day. Of course, we do a lot of talking and eating, so there's not always time to make cards, but mine went pretty fast since I had the kits, and it worked out really well. Well, I have a third kit with me, and I did not like this kit really at all, and I was so uninspired by it. Came with these two nice envelopes, which is kind of nice, and I kind of like the color. And then it had two card fronts, but one of them was all kind of like bent up. It had stickers, and they were awful. They would not stick. It's been in my stash for years. So I cut this piece off of one of the cards, and I put this, it came with this ribbon, and I put this brown ribbon there. And that's about as far as I got on it that day. And I kind of just kept putting it aside because I didn't really like it. And I was not happy with it. So it also had these two pieces in the card kit. These were scraps left over from that other card that I cut apart. And I don't know if I'll use them for something or not. And I went ahead and stamped thanks on this one because I always need thank you cards. And I stamped it with this Gina K dark chocolate ink, and I used my heat gun to dry it since it's kind of a shiny surface. And the stamps I used were from this gelatin stamps, and it's this one here that says thanks. I thought that was kind of cute. I've never used these. It was the first time I opened them. I brought them with me to craft day, and I thought I would go ahead and actually use one of them. So I made that, and that's as far as I got, and I wasn't really happy with anything. But I think I'm going to go ahead, instead of wasting the card, I'm going to go ahead and put it together, but I'm going to add a couple more things to it. the set came with these buttons, and I thought I would add a blue button to the bottom down there. I'll pop that up on foam, but I also have these, and I thought I would add some bling to it because it really needs something, because it's really kind of flat and plain, and I'm just, like I said, I'm not really happy with it. So I'm going to start with this bling, and I'm going to kind of go around this part. I'll start there kind of on the end, on the corner. And these are self-adhesive. I get these from AliExpress. They're less than $1 a sheet. Maybe, I want to say 67 cents or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I'm going to go back on and order more. I have a bunch of colors, but I love this bling so much. I've used it, as you can see, on all of those other cards, many of those other cards. And I absolutely love this bling. And I like it because it's small. I've gotten the bling at the Dollar Tree, and it's much larger, which is fine for some projects, but I think some projects need this nice small bling. And I feature this bling in several of my other videos if you want to go back and watch. I recycled a thanks card, and I used it for all of the letters. I also have used it on a lot of other recycled cards because I think it just adds a lot to them. And I'm like one short. I think that adds a lot. I think just one. So what I do to break them, I put my fingernail right between them and just peel the one off. And I have a dog hair on me. Imagine that. We had recently 2 dogs and 1 cat, and unfortunately we've had some bad luck and some cancer with the pets, so we're now just 1 dog now, and it's very sad. Okay. And the dog we have now, Jonah, he's a Beagle Pug mix, and he does not nearly shed as much as the German Shepherd mix did, Oscar. Okay, so I think that looks kind of nice. But I have these green ones too, and they're kind of neat. So I thought I would add one on each side, just on the side. Just to add a little bit of oomph. And I'll do it between that blue piece and between that brown stitching. And it should fit just about exact. There you go. I absolutely love this bling, and I think this card looks a lot better now. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think if I turned an ugly card into something that's not so bad. All right, and then I'm going to, or maybe you think I made it uglier, I don't know. And then I'm going to pop this up on foam dots. It had one on it, but it was no longer sticky. Like I said, this kit has been in my stash, I'm ashamed to say how many years. Maybe 20 years, I don't know. A long time. You can tell it's very dated. And none of the stickers stick, or it's pretty bad. So the moral to that story, and see, this ink has not really even dried all the way. The moral of this story is use your stuff. Don't let it go bad. And use your stuff while it's still popular. I'm going to go ahead and just glue that button on. I just used some tacky glue, which is my favorite adhesive of all time for chunky things. It works great on buttons and flowers. I usually store it upside down. I had this one sitting right side up. I always usually keep it upside down. And then it's always ready to go. So anyway, there we go. I have that card that I made, and I think I'll actually use that card and send it to someone as a thank you card. And then I have some other things that are left over, and I thought I would share with you. This is the leftover embellishments. We have a couple of buttons from the one kit, and then the brads, and those were from one of the other kits. Have some ribbon left over. I have a piece of that really pretty purple paper and some stickers left over. Okay, this is what I put the flamingo on. And then that is what I put behind the purple flower. And I've got some smaller pieces here. I've got that and that. This is a scrap. I think it came in junk mail or something, and I can't throw it away because it's silver paper. And then I have those left over and that piece left over from those cards. This was paper that was in one of the kits. And then I just have some card bases here handy. So I thought I would work on something. I really love this paper. It's Anna Griffin paper, and it's really pretty, but it doesn't really go with the white. So if I use it, I will cover the whole front of the card. And I thought I would use it with this, but I just saw out of the corner of my eye, I have this, and you know, I think that's a much better match. So that's still using my stash, and it's still using up scraps. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make a card with this. Rather than throw this away, I can actually use it to make a card, which I think will be really, really great. And I don't mind that it's a little dented on the corners because this is going to cover the corner. So I'm going to cut it down. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I've got I'm going to move these cards out of the way. I have my trusty paper trimmer, and I don't take this to crops. I have a smaller one that I take. So, that's what I do. Okay, so I can cut that off. I don't need that. And then by 4 1/4, let me see if I can get that more out of the middle even. Yeah, I think that would work even better. So I'm going to cut this rough kind of edge off over here. And that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to just make it 4 1/4 over here. I have embossing powder everywhere. I've been working on a project using embossing, and I will post those videos at a later date. I can't post them now because they are for a gift. So, all right. So I think that that side is a little chewed up, so actually I could even take that little piece off there. And then this will go over it like that. I think that'll work really pretty. I have to find my desk is messy. Don't tell anybody. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this on. And since this is a thick piece of cardboard, I'll put a piece down the middle just so it has a little more stability. Whenever I'm covering a full sheet of cardstock, I always want the fold to line up. I can trim the other 3 edges. So what I'm going to do is take this and I lay it on the table, and then I line up one edge But that way it ensures that this fold is always going to be lined up. And even if sometimes it's hard to get it on there perfectly, as you see, I did not get it on there perfectly. That's okay. I can come back. I line up the fold here again because I want this to be perfect, and you can see that it's not. So I'm going to trim that edge, and this is a pretty heavy duty trimmer, so it'll be able to take the thickness of it if it doesn't stick to it. Here we go. Let's try it again. All right, there we go. That worked better. And then I can trim off that little piece of white on that end as well. There. And then we have an even card. That other end worked well. I can put all these pieces in the trash. You could also take your scissors and cut it. I don't like to for such a big piece. Then I'm going to decide, do I want the top of this one or the bottom? I think I'll do the bottom because you get these pretty flowers down here. And then I will just put some glue tape on this end. And I might make a little bit of a border there. I'm going to line up that bottom edge and just lay it flat. And since I lined up this edge, it'll be straight. And that left just a little bit of a border there. And then I'm going to take my scissors on this one and just trim off that edge. Okay, there. So I have some purple flowers. I thought I would, let's see what we have here. I think a couple big ones. Let me check some of these other ones out. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I apologize in advance if I do sneeze. So yeah, this is pretty much how I work with my flowers. I just dump them out and decide what I want to use. I might just go with those three. Maybe these three. I like to work with an odd number. Okay, I think that's what I will do, is use those. And if I can find my little bit of tape, I don't have it. My glue dots, here they are. All right, so I have these little glue dots. I don't like them. I think I've mentioned that before. These are from Wish and they are really hard to work with, but I do want to use them up. I find it's better to cut them and then decide where you want to put them. Put them down on your paper. If you put them on your flower, you'll never get them off your flower. And then I use this, the small end, hold down the corner of that, kind of, and pull this paper off. There we go. Kind of gotta get your work around there. And then I'll do one more. right, there we go. Flower number 2. I like how I was able to recycle this piece of paper and it matched better than the paper I thought I was going to use. So don't throw your packaging away. You can always use it. Junk mail, packaging, whatever. That's part of being a crafter. You can use just about everything. It's less stuff you have to buy, less stuff that goes in the landfill. It might make it to a landfill depending on who I give it to. Some people keep cards, some people don't, but at least it'll get used one more time before it goes in the landfill, which is kind of nice. And then I just need centers for those flowers. And I have a couple of ideas. These little jars were from earplugs. My husband snores. So I have them from earplugs, and I just put that color on the top, and I store my flowers in them. I store them by color. I have that wonderful thing. And I also have these, which are very sparkly and pretty, but I don't think any of them are big enough, and they're not really purple enough. So let's see what I have in this. It's one of my favorite things to use is this big old thing. So I have this purple, and I also have the green, which I might use the green. Just to add a little bit of a different color. And I think for that smaller flower, I'll go ahead and use a purple center, like that. I think that just kind of adds a little bit of extra oomph to it. Then I have my glue, and I just put a dot of glue down. You don't need very much. If it does get outside of the area, it does dry clear. And the reason I don't like to glue the flower down is because sometimes if the flower is not really flat, it won't stick down. I like to use these on the flower, but then regular glue on the gem. And then I'm not sure if I want to add some sparkle down this side. Yeah, I think I will. Why not? I've got it. And I think it would be really kind of cool. I think Valerie used some of these on her card that she made. Because once I was going to share my lace with her, but she had already glued her piece down before I offered it. So she ended up using these. And then again, I just put my fingernail right there and then rip that right off. They're real easy. And then I just stick that right back like that. There we go. So I used up some scraps and I made a card. All right. And then I've got some more stuff here. I can even keep going, but I think I'll end the video for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe and please give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments. Once I reach 100 subscribers, I'm going to have a giveaway. So please share the video, tell your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.